And now we make room on stage for the last presentation. It's a company that works very hard to produce and bring on the market flexible solar cells. Midsummer is the next company to present, and we have with us CEO Sven Lindström to shed some light on your work. Very welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Sven Lindström, and I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Midsummer. So at Midsummer, we believe in distributed energy production. We also believe that all roofs should be covered by solar panels. And in order to achieve this, we need to make it look good, and we need to make it easy for the consumer to choose solar panels or photovoltaics. In order to do that, we had to develop a completely new type of solar panel. So our vision statement is that with the most sustainable solar panel, we transform the conventional roof and accelerate the transition towards renewable energy. And this is what I mean. So perhaps you can see or you cannot see, but this entire south side of this roof is covered with solar panels. And this is this is the most energy efficient solar panel in the world, and I'll show you why. Midsummer as a company is a truly green investment. We have a full ESG reporting, and we have a very low risk when it comes to resource use, product governance, and emissions and waste. So our risk in these areas are extremely low, close to negligible. So what I mean with the most energy efficient solar panel. So on these graphs to the left, you see how much carbon dioxide you emit by producing 1 kilowatt hour of energy. And with the left graph, you see carbon, which is the worst, close to 1 kilo of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour you produce, or 800 to 900 grams at least. The next one is natural gas, and then you have geothermal, etc. For the renewable energy sources, we have enlarged that to the graph on your right. And as you can see, traditional polysilicon solar panels are extremely efficient compared to coal. So they emit only 50 to 60 grams of carbon dioxide per every kilowatt hour produced. So this is really, really good. But then you have a number of different other technologies. And to the right, you have the solar panels from Midsummer. So we emit only 1/10 of the carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour produced compared to traditional silicon panels. The reason for this is that we make thin film solar panels. So the light absorbing layer in our solar panels is only 2 micrometer thick, so 0.002 of a millimeter thick. We also make our this light absorbing layer on a stainless steel substrate. So the substrate and the absorbing layer is not fragile at all. It doesn't need to be protected by a heavy glass or thick aluminum frame. That makes our solar panel extremely energy efficient. Actually, we emit less carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour produced than wind power and nuclear and even hydropower. So this is really a truly achievement. I think you have heard a lot today about the driving forces behind renewable energies. And of course, we have the energy transition that we want to move towards renewable energy. We also have the electrification of the transport sector, where there need to be a lot more electricity produced today and in the future than in the past. And for Midsummer, also actually the global pandemic, it's actually helping our effort to install solar panels on roofs, because people spend more time at home and they spend more money on their home than on traveling for on vacation, etc. We also have a very strong market growth for solar panels in general, both globally and in Sweden. And in this we have a unique position. We have developed our own technology. We have everything from raw materials, R&D, to the production equipment and the end product integrated into different building materials. And together with our equipment customer, we build the market demand with them. And on this picture you also see one of Midsummer roofs covered with solar panels. So I mentioned a growing market. So to the left you can see how the world market, excluding China, has been growing in terms of PV. So almost 100 gigawatt per year of solar panels are installed. I think 85 excluding China and more than 100 including China. And to the right you can see the total global installed capacity. And this is a little bit old numbers from 2019, but then over 600 gigawatt of solar power was installed. And I think last year that way surpassed 700 gigawatts. Also in Sweden, the market is growing very fast, almost doubling every year. And the gray bars here, you can see that's the total market size. Sorry for the old numbers, 2019, almost 300 megawatts of solar panels were installed. Almost half of that was installed on private houses. And almost half was also installed on commercial buildings. So in Sweden we have a very small amount that's installed as ground-mounted solar parks, but they do exist. So a little bit about Midsummer history. We founded the company in 2004, and our background was that we made production equipment for CDs and DVDs. And as we saw that market not really declining, but actually not growing anymore, then delivering equipment to that market was not a future business, as if the market doesn't grow, there's really no demand for new production equipment. So we used this technology, which was extremely productive. To produce a CD or a DVD cost less than 5 euro cents. And that includes raw material, depreciation, operating salaries, everything. And we used this technology, which was extremely productive, to produce solar panels. And that's why we have such an efficient thin film solar panel production. And we're one of the few companies in the world that has been able to produce these kind of lightweight, flexible modules on a large scale with high productivity. We started the development of lightweight, flexible products in 2014. And in 2018, we listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange here in Stockholm. And in 2019, we inaugurated a new production line for our solar panels. And last year, we really started to sell the solar panels. And actually, our sales of solar panels last year compared to 2019 increased almost 500%. So we have a really strong demand for our products. We also produce production equipment, and I'll come back to that a little bit more later on. But end of last year, we actually took a prestigious order to University of New South Wales. University of New South Wales, together with Martin Green, has been having the world record for solar panel efficiency for decades. And when they are researching for new technologies, they choose Midsummer as the platform to perform this research on. So that was really good. We also are about to start a factory, and we have bought a building in Italy for this, for larger scale manufacturing. So, talking about Midsummer business segments. So, to the left you see solar panels that we install, produce here in Järfälla in Stockholm, and install on houses. And to the right you see the production equipment that we also sell to produce these kind of solar panels. One of these production machines which would easily fit onto this stage cost around $5 million, and we have around 60 to 70% gross margin on that. So that's a really good, nice business for us. However, we mostly sold these production machines to China. And the last year with the pandemic, etc., and the trade war between China and US, that market came to an abrupt halt. We still have a lot of orders that we are delivering, and we do have some contractual assets in our balance sheet that we are lowering. I think we lowered from 140 million Swedish crowns to 118 in Q4, and we continue to lower them also in Q1 as we delivered a machine to Russia a few weeks ago, etc. And I often get the question if we compete with our customers, but as I told you before, we actually develop this market together with our customers. We buy panels from them, they sometimes buy panels from us, etc. So there's such a huge demand for these kind of panels, and we're actually creating a new market that didn't exist before. So we're doing this together with our equipment customers. So here is one example of a fantastic house in southern part of Sweden. And if you own a house like this, you really don't want to put framed silicon panels on top of this. So instead they choose the solution from Midsummer, where we changed the complete roof. So we delivered also this standing seam metal roof to them, together with the solar panels that's almost invisible, but it keeps the look of your very nice house. As for solar panels, we have a few different market segments. And to the left you see traditional individual houses, and in the middle you can see commercial buildings. And we also have some cooperation projects together with, for example, Scania, where they put solar panels onto trucks to charge batteries, etc. If we look closely at our products, I showed you a picture of Midsummer Wave before. Here's a little bit of a close-up. So Midsummer Wave is a thin film solar panel that we have shaped to follow the shape of a tile roof. And this is the first ever solar panel made for roof tiles. And it's only 2 millimeters thin. It has an energy density of around 110 watts per square meters. And the weight of these panels are only 2 kilos. So there's really no weight consideration to keep in mind when you're installing this. It has a 90% lower carbon dioxide footprint than a traditional solar panel. And it can produce electricity cheaper than you can buy from the grid. So in Sweden, this panel turns basically any kind of modern building into a zero energy building. And no building permits are necessary as you follow the shape of your traditional roof. And it's easily installed on existing roofs. So this is one of our products, the Midsummer Wave. We also have the Midsummer Slim, which is integrated into a standing seam metal roof already at our factory. So we also produce the metal roofs at our factory here in Stockholm. It has the same energy density, around 110 watts per square meter. And you can produce electricity cheaper than you can buy from the grid. And it also turns any modern buildings into zero energy houses. What's really interesting with this product is that if you install a traditional standing seam metal roof by a craftsman in Sweden, you pay around 800 to 1200 crowns per square meter. With this Midsummer Slim product, we can install this roof And you also get solar panels on half of the roof covering the south side for the same price as a traditional standing seam metal roof. So this is really a extremely short payback, close to 0 years. And with our kind of standing seam metal roof, you have better wind protection than from any other roof on the market. And we integrate the solar panels already at our factory here in Stockholm. And then we have another product called Midsummer Bold. And this product basically replaces either the ceramic tiles or the metal roof. So you have an underlaying felt on your roof, and then you put the solar panels on top of that to protect the waterproofing layer from the UV rays. And as with all our other products, it has a 90% lower carbon dioxide footprint than traditional solar panels. Extremely easy installation without penetrating the waterproofing layer. And you can produce electricity cheaper than buying from the grid, and it turns any modern building into a zero energy building. This Midsummer Bold panel, it's 1 by 1.6 meters, so it's the same size as traditional silicon solar panels. And it's actually even more suited for these kind of large area flat roofs that you have on most commercial buildings. And in Sweden, all the buildings are built to withstand 2 meters of snow. And but as you can see from this picture, in California, most roofs in the world are not built to withstand that kind of weight. That means they cannot also take the weight of silicon solar panels. So if you would choose silicon solar panels on such a roof, you cannot cover the entire area. Also in Sweden, it could become a problem because in the winter time, sometimes we want to remove the snow. And on traditional solar panels, you cannot really walk on them. But our panels, you can walk on them, and you don't have to penetrate the waterproofing layer, and you can shuffle snow on them as well. So this is really the #1 choice for commercial buildings when you don't want to increase the weight, and you don't want to penetrate the waterproofing layer, and if you don't want to limit access for example, snow removal or other purposes. At Midsummer, we continuously improve our product, and we have an extensive R&D operation. And here we have a 500 watt panel. I think that's more than anything else on the market. So it makes the installation even smoother than our traditional panels. And it's extremely cost effective as well. I've showed you some pictures, and we last year introduced something called power mesh technology. So instead of the traditional bus bars that you have, the 3, 4, or 5 lines that's covering the front of a solar panel to collect the current, we replace this by a mesh, which is less visible than these bus bars, and it also shade the solar cell much less. So actually we have a higher output at the same time as we reduce the cost of silver to screen print a solar cell. So this is really a win-win technology, and we're very proud of it. This market I'm telling you about with building integrated solar panels, it's quite new, and we really own this market because no one else can mass produce these type of solar panels as efficient as we can. We have a minimal CO2 footprint, we have a very sleek design, and it's suitable for any type of roofs. And we really have a technical superiority in terms of product development. And whereas most silicon panels are extremely standardized in their size, 1 by 1.6 meters, and same weight, etc. The only way for them to compete is with price. Whereas we can integrate our solar panels with roofing materials, so we can develop a completely new market here. And when the niche turns to norm, we think that this will create a lot of shareholder value. The same way that Tesla actually were the first one to realize that they had to have an own battery factory in order to mass produce electrical cars. I think all car manufacturers in the world understand that now. They also realized that they needed their own charging network, and they also realized that they should sell their cars in a different way. Actually, something that Volvo adopted a couple of weeks ago as well. And the same thing with Midsummer is that instead of just selling traditional solar panels, we also develop this market and the way to sell the roofs together with the solar panels, and that really makes us unique. We have our production in Järfälla with the entire value chain. So we make the raw material, we make the solar panels, we make the production equipment, and everything. We also have a very unique production method in that every single cell, we store the production data of that single cell. It's several thousand parameters per cell, which is stored and analyzed, and that's how we have been able to develop this energy efficient production with a very high yield. And as I already told you, we have an extremely low carbon dioxide footprint. Okay, that's everything I had to tell you today. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sven Lindström. You mentioned niche to norm. That leads me to ask about your patent protection, because what you have innovated is unique. And how strong is your protection for your innovation? Okay,
so we actually have patents approved in Sweden, China, and US. But I think I have a picture here I'd like to show you. But we actually have a strategy not to take that many patents. The reason for that is that we think it's much stronger protection in having the technology for ourselves. For example, the Duo machine that we sell consists of over 25,000 parts, and we own the design of that. Also, the subcontractors that deliver the parts for this Duo machine is specialized companies in Sweden, China, Switzerland, Germany, US, Great Britain, Taiwan, Japan, etc. So that's also a unique network. The software to this machine is completely developed by Midsummer, and the process of producing these solar cells, we have 25 to 30 process stations in these machines. So the amount of pressure, what gases to use, etc., that's completely unique to Midsummer. And also the materials used in the process is our proprietary information, and we have been working with sub-suppliers for these materials for over 10 years. So only Midsummer know the exact composition and the purity of these materials. And finally, the raw material suppliers are also specialized companies from everything from US, Japan, etc. And all this together makes for a padlock with many unique keys. And that we think it's a much stronger protection than patents.
Thank you, Sven Lindström. And your main focus ahead for this year, what is this?
Is to increase. I told you that our solar panel sales increased by almost 500% between 2019 and 2020, and we want to continue that increase in solar panel sales and installation.
And competition. How about competition?
Yes, well, actually for these kind of products, we don't really have that much competition. There is really no one that has a similar product. When it comes to silicon solar panels, if the customer accept the look of silicon solar panel, they normally choose a silicon solar panel. But more and more people care. I mean, their most expensive investment in life is their house. And they want it to look good, and they want to make sure that their solar panels is produced in an energy efficient way. And then Midsummer becomes the natural choice.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation, Sven Lindström, and best of luck with Midsummer. Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.